Are you learning Portuguese? Parabéns! And thank you for learning our language. Learning a new language can be a very rewarding experience. And it is especially important if we learn a language because we want to communicate with the people around us in a new country. But often, learning Portuguese can also be a source of frustration. One day, everything seems to be going well. You understand a simple conversation. You can order a cafe and a pastel de nata without hesitation. And you can even follow half of what is said on a television show. The next day, you hear two people talking on the street, and it seems like you're listening to a different language. This makes you feel that after months of study and effort, you have not progressed at all. Feeling that way is normal.
Want to learn Portuguese, or are you here just to look at the pet platypus? Then try this course. I made it. In it, I explain the basics of the language and also the really complicated things, like when to use the imperfect instead of the perfect, the difference between para and por, or the 700 different meanings of the verb ficar. I also included more things for you, like a section to improve your comprehension with text to read, audio to listen to, or videos to watch. Tired of courses that copy school textbooks, pretend they are Duolingo, or are just overpriced ego trips for their authors? Give this one a go! It's full of clear and straight to the point explanations of how the language works, with lots of audio examples. And every subscription gets a free Ronaldo bust. Join now! Por favor.
Feeling this lack of progress is inevitable, especially at intermediate levels when you have been studying for a long time. You already understand the essential grammar relatively well and have a considerable vocabulary, but it is still very hard to have a conversation in Portuguese. It seems all the words you know escape you when you need them most, and understanding what Portuguese people say is still almost as difficult as on the first day. There are reasons for this. Different skills take different amounts of time to perfect. Understanding grammar and meanings of words is easier than constructing sentences when speaking, especially in a conversation where there is not much time to think about what to say next, to fit the words together in the right way, or to decide whether lazy is preguiçoso or perigoso. When you finally manage to do this, you still have to understand what Portuguese speakers are saying. This last challenge is perhaps the greatest of all, because it does not depend solely on you. People speak their language in very different ways. There are different accents, different intonations, and often native speakers of a language speak very quickly or don't worry about clarity because they know that other native speakers will understand them. A common mistake when learning Portuguese is wanting to progress very quickly. Many people arrive in Portugal and think, in 3 months, I will be speaking fluently. 3 months later, they can ask for bread, but they don't understand what the baker says in response. Desculpe, mas isto é uma loja de informática. Não vendemos pão. Que tal uma fonte de alimentação nova para o seu computador? The inevitable result is frustration. To avoid this problem, it's important to set modest, realistic and concrete goals. For example, this week I'm going to learn 10 new words. This month I want to be able to speak for 2 minutes without switching to English. Today I'm going to try to understand the gist of a dialogue on YouTube. Goals like these are achievable, and when we achieve a small goal, we feel that we have made progress. That feeling is very important for maintaining motivation. It is also important to accept a simple truth. Learning a language takes time, a lot of time. Even people who have lived in Portugal for years continue to discover words or expressions they didn't know before. The Portuguese language has many idiomatic expressions, many ways of saying the same thing, and a large collection of verb tenses that appear when you least expect them. Understanding spoken Portuguese is always what takes the longest, and unfortunately there is no magic pill you can take to understand what the Portuguese are saying. Achieving this requires listening a lot, making an effort to understand, and at the same time applying the rules of grammar and remembering the vocabulary you have learned. It is very, very difficult, but it is not impossible. Another useful strategy is to focus on communication rather than on perfection, at least in the beginning. If you say, Eu ontem ir ao supermercado, the other person will probably understand what you mean. They may correct the sentence. They may not. But communication has taken place. And that's what matters most. With time and repetition, you will improve. Don't be afraid or ashamed to make mistakes. Portuguese people won't be offended by your mistakes and won't laugh when you say wrong things. At least they won't laugh too much. To your face anyway. But that's part of the process. Desculpe. Pode dizer-me se este pacote de sumo tem preservativos? Esse pacote de sumo não tem preservativos nem conservantes, seu estrangeiro hilariante. Another important thing to remember is that progress in a language is rarely linear. There are periods when it seems you're learning very quickly, and others when everything seems to have come to a standstill. Remember that native speakers can also have doubts about the right way to say things, and can also make mistakes, just like you, but less so. Thank you for watching this video to the end. And if you want to hear this in Portuguese and read the transcript, you can support me on Patreon. Adeusinho!